士相聚，感觉到这个气氛非常和谐如意啊，也确实蛮高兴，共同合作迈向这个世界和平、世界一种关怀的一种方式。太极门在这方面也是受到国际上的肯定。
太极门能够组织这个亲善文化访问团到澳洲去参加国际的运动大会，我相信是非常有意义的。因为前些年它的主要的目的就是让人类能够彼此宽恕，能够和好，能够和平相处。今天我特别的祝福我们的亲善文化访问团能够顺利的完成这次访问的使命。
中国各大宗教，包括儒教、道教、佛教，都离不开太极。刚才你们看到这个三权合一，也源于太极的原理。就出家人，我们少林和尚讲身心合一，也源于太极的原理。太极就是说道化自然，要顺其自然，要修平衡。儒家讲中庸，都是太极的原理。我们相信太极门内农立下，将来把这种优秀文化能够发扬光大。
宗教信仰、宗教仪式以及宗教的各种现象，都是文化的象征。基于宪法、世界人权宣言及国际人权2公约，都应该受到平等的保障。
是的，热烈掌声。我们看到的都是一场又一场的历史画面。那我真的觉得，在台湾中华民国这一块土地上，我们是幸福的，因为我们各大宗教能够和谐共存。好，那我想这也是我们今天能够有幸也邀请到各教的最重要的道长们也好，长老们也好，我们今天一起来把在台湾这样子的一个人权议题，我们做深入的探讨。
Good morning, everybody. This morning we gathered together to observe this important United Nations Day in commemoration of the victim and violence of the religions and belief. And especially, we like to emphasize the importance of taxpayers' human rights. And now let's watch the video from Renee Waterloo.
Even if one is not a member of the United Nations. The Tai Ji Man case has two aspects. One, of the defense of religious and spiritual liberty, and two, the fair and transparent tax procedures. Tai Ji Man has been very active in cultural exchanges with other countries, so that many people have learned of the rich cultural life and heritage of Taiwan. The Tai Ji Man issue has been much discussed in Taiwan, in the media, in the parliament, in law courts, and in public hearings. The issues are clear. We appeal that the tax issue can be settled in a just and open way as quickly as possible.
I think it's a blemish on what is a very fine system of justice in Taiwan. The role of government, the role of tax authorities, the role of prosecutors, their role is not to seize property. Okay? Their role is not to prosecute people. That may be what they do, but that's not their role. What is their role then? Their role is to seek justice. conviction, a prior tax assessment was wrong, then it should be corrected. That is precisely the case in the Tai Ji Man tax case. And it is inconceivable to me that there's even a discussion about 1992. Because the situation and circumstances there were no different than they were for the other years in which there's been a negotiation down to zero of the tax liability. And the world is watching. People are watching how this case is going to be handled. And I encourage all of the decision makers, to put a stop to this, to not seize any property, and not perpetuate an injustice that has gone on for 24 years.
It's clear, it's perfectly clear that basing on the whole story of this Tai Ji Man tax case, the tax office should be stopped from making any tax claim for the year 1992. And this is just exactly as you recalled, based on the principle of estoppel. Government is one, different agencies cannot take different decisions, but there must be compliance with the law and with the principles. So we all hope that this case may be handled in the perfect way and be concluded in favor of Tai Ji Man.
As long as the problem remains inside the borders of a specific country and is not exposed to the international community, there is no long-standing solution. Building up a coalition of scholars and human rights NGOs and NGOs defending religious freedom, so that Taiwan, which is a thriving democracy, and I want to really to stress it, that I've been in Taiwan, and I really hail what they have achieved in the last centuries, and even now in this period of pandemics. So give visibility to your cause in all the ways that are at your disposal, and we can help you, and the Chesnur can also be assistance. It's to be hoped that the current government of Taiwan will be able to repair the damage caused to Tai Ji Man under previous governments since the mid-1990s.
They claim that for 1992 the appeal terms had expired, but of course there is no appeal term when decisions are grossly unjust. They can always be revised. In conclusion, what is happening now? Now the tax office is insisting with its bill for 1992 and threatens to seize properties of Tai Ji Man and auction them, which will cause enormous harm to Tai Ji Man and to freedom of belief. It's not about money. Tai Ji Man has spent more in legal expenses than what will pay if they pay the tax bill for 92. It's about principle. They didn't commit any wrongdoing, and they don't want to admit this. It will be false.
I am not an expert in Taiwanese tax law, and I'm only starting to study your spiritual organization, but I have an awful lot of sympathy for your case, and I'm here today to say a little bit comparing Tai Ji Man's case to other cases around the world. When we think about religious persecution, we sometimes think of heresy trials where people are burned at the stake or the Spanish Inquisition. But in the present day, religious harassment is more likely to take place in the form of illicit and unfair court cases. And so tax laws, zoning laws, being able to have occupancy of a building, these are the kinds of instances where religious minorities find themselves persecuted today.
the power of the state should be the ability to protect and defend individuals and groups, especially the most feeble among them. But in this case, it turns out that the state did just the contrary. In the Tai Ji Man case, the power has been used, the power of the state has been used to discriminate against individuals and a group. When justice was returned to Tai Ji Man in criminal court, the ordeal of this group didn't finish, because in fact, tax offices continue to haunt Tai Ji Man with invalid tax demands.
I met Dr. Han, who founded Tai Ji Man in Europe. He's clearly an ambassador of Chinese culture and spirituality abroad, trying to unite and to have an interreligious dialogue among various groups through what unites us and not through what divides us. This is so needed today in our extremely turbulent world. They are good ambassadors of the values and cultural riches Taiwan stands for, and Taiwan should be grateful for this.
相信透过刚刚的这支影片，各位应该可以感受到太极门假案这一个案例，它其实24年来不止登陆在台湾的监察院人权迫害案例当中，最重要的是台湾我们曾经出过赋税人权白皮书，而太极门假案就登录在里面，所以我们已经透过了英文版，它已经分享到全世界，其实全世界都在。
And now we're going to show you a video about the story of 24 years taxpayer tax violation through the governments and the stories of these fabricated bills in the 24 years.
太极门的税务案件本来就是无中生有的案子，太极门从55年成立到现在，从来就没有要缴税的问题。那为什么会产生就6个年度的税单？就是当初活宽人的刑事冤案的迫害，国税局的发单课税也是依照活宽人滥权违法的起诉书照抄里面的内容，完全没有做任何的调查就发单课税了。所以他当初一共发出了6个年度的税单。可是这6个年度的税单到今天，经过刑事法院3审的判决确定，经过最高行政法院的判决确定，都已经认定太极门不是补习班，净司礼都是赠与的弟子的净司礼，不是补习班学费，所以太极门根本就没有税单，也没有纳税的问题。
刑事最低面积，也就是7就完全不是，也就是说你完全没有举证，在完全没有举证之下所核发的税款。当然是无效的，他应该要主动的来进行。
然而，国税局当年依据检方不实起诉书开出的6个年度税单，并没有撤销，甚至法务部行政执行署新竹分署还强制执行拍卖太极门位于苗栗山区的土地。
枉法裁判怎么可以执行？这个就当你明明知道说这个死刑犯这个判决是冤案，你还硬要把人家抓去枪毙的道理是一样的啊。你不帮他平反，你国家就有错了，你国家还错上加错，还把人家杀了。
我们还是要强调，就是太极门呢，的确的不是补习班。
早在86年，教育部就说太极门不是补习班。89年公听会上再次澄清，太极门的确不是补习班。 96年，刑事3审确定太极门无税务问题。101年到102年，财政部重核复查决定，也承认太极门不是补习班。事实上，107年，最高行政法院再次判决太极门胜诉，也再一次明确认定太极门并非补习班，而是气功武术修行门派。国税局因此陆续将80和82到85年度的税单更正为0，却唯独81年度没有更正，仍然以补习班课税。理由是81年度的税单已经在95年判决败诉确定，问题是太极门刑案在96年才3审判决确定，行政法院怎可抢先做出背离事实的判决？
他认定事实错误嘛，他把太极门当作是补习班嘛，用补习班的成本税率来对太极门发单课税嘛，所以作为认定事实错误，这个适用法律就错误嘛，所以这个法院的判决也是一个枉法裁判啊。
今年5月5号和7月23号，台北高等行政法院2度发函中区国税局，要求唯一没有更正为0的81年度税单应该重新计算，并与其他年度做一致性处理。甚至文中还再次的明白点出，中区国税局在太极门81年度的税单依补习班课税，是涉及了多处的违法和不合理。同时也表明81年度税单重新计算，可以不受最高行政法院95年不当判决的拘束。如此白纸黑字，国税局和行政执行署还能继续视而不见，坚持违法执行吗？而太极门81年度的税单败诉，还有一个不符合程序正义的重大瑕疵，就是从1审到2审，甚至申请再审，都碰上了同一位法官王淑玲，这已经违反法官回避原则。
王淑玲法官，他在呢台中高等行政法院嘛，好，接到了这个案件，他呢因为是书面法官，所以他也有准备程序，然后呢他也进入了实质调查，结果后来因为怎样？因为职务调动，他到了最高行政法院，那至少我们人民呢怎样有那个机会去申请你回避，对不对？在太极门案件有没有可能？完全不可能，为什么？因为我们的最高法院跟最高行政法院有没有在开庭啊？完全就是在书面秘密审判嘛，所以呢搞到那边好像鬼打墙一样，都同一批人怎样在那边绕，在那边转，
救济程序必须是要完全不一样的法官。那你在这里跨2个程序，你如何公正？告诉我怎么公正化？
除了法官违反回避原则，严重侵害太极门的诉讼权之外，更离谱的是，在行政法院审理过程，国税局竟还涉嫌隐匿证据。
他发了一个函，然后请他抽到的地址，然后来问说进食里的性质是什么。回收的有206份，全部都说是赠与，全部都说是赠与。可是没有想到，台北国税局认定说只有9份是赠与，中区国税局认定只有5份是赠与。后来监察院针对这件事情做调查的时候，台北国税局竟然说没有，全部都是学费，全部都有对价。
修他妈啦，都是赠与啊，赠与性质，中方也是。
国税局的谎言立刻遭到打脸。民国99年6月17号，在立法院的公听会上，太极门弟子出示了全部表明进师礼是赠与的函查表作为证据，让财政部和国税局都哑口无言。
现在人都在这里，资料都提供给你看，鬼头咖拢东西。那你们明明知道这个已经是错了，你们以前讲的好像有点疑问的，你们还要一昧的错在，那是不好的啦。请财政部在2个月内对于本事件尽速做一结论。
如果中期国际迁上来迁上到财政部来，因为中期国际让他一个局承担责任也不好了，那迁上来好不好？
好，我们就照着刚刚这个次长的这样的一个说辞那我们就把这个中期局的这一个意见呢，那么迁请财政部，就是撤销的话，那么这个就是撤回是吧？好，那我们就由我们中期局正式迁到部里面去。
公听会后1个多月，财政部发函给立法委员田秋瑾、涂醒哲及周守训，表示已经要求中区国税局依税捐稽征法第40条撤回执行。中区国税局也在4天后行文当时的新竹执行处，要求根据行政执行法第9条第3项但书停止执行。没想到，直到现在的行政执行署新竹分署仍然没有停止执行。为何如此明显有重大疑义的税单，却不愿停止执行呢？这背后是否有不能说的秘密？
为何这个乌龙税单一直开下去，一直没有办法撤销？那最重要的原因之一，应该就是包括我们讲的，就是税务人员有所谓的这个税务奖金的部分。
我在100年的时候，我就跟财政部长讲，那这个应该是可以结案的。他没有把它当做自己的事情嘛，反正那个奖金我拿了，然后呢要扣税也是扣你们的。
2019年3月15号，他们还公告奖励建议名单，然后奖励建议名单呢，就是针对这个案子，太极门这个案子。2020年3月5号，刚那是2019年，现在是2020年，每年都要讨论要分钱，1年之后还没忘掉，所以以后绩效要1/2，1人分1半。
你是我的眼，你是我的眼，你是我的眼。啊，不是我的眼啊，为什么？大家去帮我看一下，到底有没有人在逃漏税？有奖金吗？最高480万。
在财政部和国税局公开承诺2个月内解决太极门税案之后，到现在已经又过了10年。太极门税案纠缠迫害人民长达24年，最高法院已经判决确定无罪无税，也获得国家冤狱赔偿，更被监察院列为国家重大人权保障案件。但讽刺的是，在监察院国家人权委员会8月1号正式成立的前夕，太极门的土地竟还遭到违法强行拍卖。在当今政府高举人权大旗，力促转型正义、司法改革的同时，真能有足够的魄力终结这一场经历了4位总统都无法落幕的冤屈假案，还太极门师徒一个公道正义吗？还是会让这充满官员违法、官官相护的荒唐闹剧，成为台湾人权运动上的污点，贻笑国际的大笑话呢？
进行式，昨天，我们才刚从苗栗中区这边回来，对，这就是台湾目前赋税人权的现况。所以今天这个研讨会，我觉得8月22号这个重要的日子，一个宗教信仰自由的台湾，可是为何这样的优良的团体，24年来要遭受公权力，24年来要遭受公权力这样的迫害。那我想刚刚前面那个 Massimo 的教授，就是意大利的这位教授，其实他观察全球所有的人权迫害问题，长期以来，他都让我们很清楚的知道是这个案子，太极门假案就是人权迫害的案子，因为自始到现在，每一个刚刚大家看到的问题都没有所谓程序正义。那我想专业的老师都在这边，没有程序正义，不要来谈实质的正义。所以我们今天是来 fight for justice。情绪有一点，真的看到24年的血泪史。
对，那我们要师父教我们的就是要坚持真理，做对的事情。接下来我们要邀请今天主办单位太极门掌门人洪道子博士的致辞。
各位贵宾、各位学者专家、各位关怀宗教人权议题的好朋友，大家好。在人类发展的历史过程中，宗教信仰的存在先于国家，先于法律。 涉及人们内心最深层的思想，包括人类与宇宙之关系、人类生命之本然与灵魂之归属等等，指引人们明了自己生命的根本是什么。所以，拥有绝对自主的权利，这是宗教信仰自由的。
It is human dignity and the cornerstone of the rights. In the preamble of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it's clearly stated that human beings should enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want. It is stated in Article 1 of the Declaration that all human beings are born from free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reasons and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. The freedom of religion and belief, freedom of speech, and freedom of assembly and association are interdependent, interrelated, and complementary. These rights are stipulated in Article 19, 18, 19, 20 of the Declaration. Additionally, the two international human rights covenants, the ICCPR and ICSCR, and the Constitution of countries around the world also list the rights of freedom of religion, of belief, and equality as important basic human rights. In light of the fact that the discrimination and violence against the individual or religious group based on religion or belief continue to occur all over the world, the United Nations designated August 22nd as the International Day of Commemorating the Victim of Arts and Violence based on religion or on belief. In 2019, it clearly emphasizes that any violence is unacceptable, whether it's a single incident or large-scale systematic violence. It is hoped that concrete action will be taken or prevent the intentional and severe deprivation of fundamental rights. This shows that the freedom of religion or belief has become a universal value and has become the focus of recent international human rights issues. More than 300 years ago, John Locke, an English philosopher, stated that the salvation of souls is beyond the reach of a government's power. It clearly pointed out that conscience and spirituality are beyond the reach of the power of public authorities. Therefore, in exercising its power through various measures, legislation, and actions, a government agency, be in the executive, legislative, or judicial branch, must not cross the boundary. Otherwise, it's unconstitutional and human rights abuse. The fabricated Tai Ji Man text case that we are focusing our discussion on today involves freedom of religion, freedom of belief, and freedom of thought in human dignity. At a constitutional level, it's even an issue about the freedom of conscience, the foundation of the country, and the dignity of the legal system. Over the past 12+ years, Tai Ji Man Shifu and Dizi have not compromised or given in to government oppression or wrongdoings. What we have insisted on the belief is our hearts and our faith in truth, and the protection of the most fundamental human dignity. This incident has also attracted the attention of domestic and foreign scholars and experts. Through a probe into the case, we are examining the health of Taiwan's legal and tax system and the current status of human rights protection. Today, religious leaders, scholars, experts, and good friends from all walks of life who are concerned about human rights are gathered here because we love the world and because we still have expectation for the country and the world. justice and human rights. Thank you all for your generous and selfless contribution as you share with us what you have learned. Thank you for fighting together with us, not for personal gain, but for defending the beliefs and truths we hold dear to our hearts. This will help government implement respect for human rights, severely punish those who have violated the people's freedom of religion and thought, and who have used the media for defamation and fabricated legal and tax cases. I believe that in our struggle for justice, we will strengthen our beliefs and get closer to the truth through our actions, which will set our hearts free and allow our soul to return to their origin. So, through the speech of Dr. Hon, all of us understand the message and the result we had from yesterday's enforcement action. Let's take a group photo at the beginning of our forum. If anyone who require the face mask, please come to us. I think we'll follow the policy of the Minister of Health in Taiwan to strictly follow the preventive measures. So we are going to save Taiwan with conscience through legal and tax reform. Please hold your fist and let's fight for the justice. So let's say together, through tax and legal reform to save Taiwan with conscience. Tax and legal reform to save Taiwan with conscience. Let's move on to the first section of our forum. Let's welcome the leader of Taiwanese religious group and Lawyer Su, and let's take a legal reform initiator in Taiwan's Victim Association, Mr. Liu, and Rotary Club representative
这边说明一下，每位语坛人的时间是8分钟。那7分钟的时候会响铃1声，8分钟的时候会响铃2声。响铃2声的时候，我就要麻烦请语坛人准备结束发言。
对，另外也要跟各位语坛人说，因为我们符合防疫的原则哈。所以可不可以要邀请每一位语坛者？那您在发表的时候，也请您全程佩戴口罩，谢谢。
好，也提醒现场的好朋友，如果手机还没有 关静音或关机的话，麻烦注意一下，不要影响现场。
We will strictly follow the policy from the Minister of Health to wear the mask through all the forum. And also, please, the participants, please set your mobile phone to silent mode. Let's welcome the Reverend Ming Guang from Buddhist Association. Dear Chairman of Tai Ji Man, Dr. Hon Daozi, all the participants today, I'm honored to be part of today's very important forum, and I respect all of you. Amitofo. Tai Ji Man has shouldered the responsibility to promote the Chinese culture around the world to 101 countries, promoting love, conscience, and peace, and to promote the cultural exchanges, promote the virtue of humanity, and was highly lauded by domestically and internationally. The nature of Tai Ji Man has never been changed. Tai Ji Man was suffered by the political crackdown in the year 1996, and the core problem was the nature of the monetary gift before Shifu and Dizi. And because of this fabricated tax case that Tai Ji Man suffered for 24 years. And then the tax agent illegally violated even the judicial system, and the case was ruled by the Supreme Court and proved that Tai Ji Man is innocent, no tax evasion. However, Tai Ji Man continued to receive illegal taxpayer, and even the Minister of Education had confirmed that Tai Ji Man is not cram school and is a traditional martial art group, and the taxpayer was set to 0 for 5 years and only remained 1 year to be taxed, and was forced to auction Tai Ji Man's land. And the fact already shows that the government officials and the tax office have to follow the ruling result from the Supreme Court. And from this incident, that it shows clearly that the tax office, the Minister of Finance, has violated the human rights and imposed the illegal tax bills and auction the lands, and is a serious violate our freedom of belief and our freedom to choose our religions or belief. I end my speech. Thanks to Ming Guang, Reverend Ming Guang. I think we share the same sentiment, being a practitioner or religious believers. The Reverend is the leader of this 12th Buddhist Association in Taiwan, so he played a very important role. Also from the same group, Secretary Cho, and our friend also is here. Thanks to the Reverend, your sharing. Let's welcome former County Mayor Mr. Su. Dear Tai Ji Man and Tax Reform League friends, yesterday during the second auction yesterday, and it was a failure for the second auction, but then consequently the Minister of Finance has confiscated the land, so the destruction and damage has completed, but we see from this Tai Ji Man case, and even 2 years ago, the judge from the Supreme Court there's a case from a psyche killer that this guy killed his mother and then throw his mother's head down away, and this criminal case that the judge has ruled innocent for this killer, and then I think all of us feel very disappointed. Is this kind of incapable judge that is criticized by all the citizens. All the tax officers, they continue to be promoted and to receive bonus. So all these remedies in our administrative or this system is ineffective, because all the governmental officers are well protected and they will not be punished because of their wrongdoing. So there will be more and more victims of. So even now we are under the second term of President Tsai's governor, but still this system still exists. And for most victims, maybe they can only resist for 3 days or 3 years, and or even will have a serious depression or had disease. And then for Tai Ji Man has been fighting for the justice for the 24 years, but even though our government is still playing deaf and blind, and the whole process of Tai Ji Man's suffering for 24 years, and so we can especially feeling this the importance of this United Nations Day, as government still continue to violate citizens' rights. And recently, government just established a human rights commission. Not to mention about this Human Rights Commission being just established by the Control Yuan, and we had the Human Rights Committee under the presidential office many years ago, but apparently it really doesn't function at all, because they couldn't really resolve all these human rights violation cases. And the recent promulgated law, beginning of July, about the farms and this water-related law is also ineffective. So all their property, over several billion monies, was confiscated to the government. So the government arbitrarily confiscated all the lands that originally belonged to the citizens. And this law just been passed beginning of July. We feel the power and the strength of the religion. Without the strength and the power of this religious influence, I don't think today there will be so many participants attending the forum today. So I would like to express my respect to Dr. Han. 24 years fight has not been easy at all, as it accumulated so much energies and powers. And now the property has been auctioned and confiscated. And the Minister of Finance doesn't have the courage to correct the mistake. And it pushed the responsibility to the enforcement agency. So the taxpayers have to appeal to different governmental organs, and the governmental organs try to push their responsibility to other bodies. A country, such a corrupted one, can never progress and cannot handle such a simple case. I have been the chief of governmental organizations. So being the chief of the provincial lead, I wouldn't allow any appeals or any victims to suffer for such long years. And the Supreme Court already confirmed that the Tai Ji Man is innocent. So the government and the country is so ignorant. And so this is the most brutal things. So here we will have to continue voice out that our government is brutal, is so cold. So Professor Chen said that if government is doing nothing, you have the responsibility, but you do nothing. It's government's responsibility to correct the mistake. But, you know, without doing anything, this is also called so all the suffering should reflect to this irresponsible governmental officers. Our sufferings should reflect to those governmental officers. The tax and legal reform leaks and this Tai Ji Man case continue to exist. It means that the tax system in Taiwan or the judicial system in Taiwan is very far behind from the basic standard. This see the Reverend Ming Guang off. He's leaving now. Let's take a group photo as memento.
为什么会听得不好意思？这一句话如果一直到国会，就不知道讲说不定有超过接近10年了。如果这句话继续存在的话，我引用苏县长他来讲的，这就是台湾的耻辱，绝对是台湾的耻辱了。那今天来参加这个会，我才知道原来这个联合国有定一个这个宗教信仰破坏的日子啊我也是参加这个会才知道。我觉得就台湾来讲今天讲这个宗教破坏自然是我觉得蛮感伤的啦明明已经来到了21世纪，而且呢，我们的不管是谁当总统都会说我们是什么立国，人权立国。
No matter who is the president,
我不知道该怎么讲了有的时候在法律系教学的时候
established based
我常常
on
跟学生讲
human rights. When I teach my students, I told them we have to assume that the accusee are innocent. But it's not apply. It doesn't apply to Tai Ji Man case. So when I also teach in the past in the Department of Religion, I told them the religion during the martial laws periods that religion was not supported. But after that, it's different. In Taiwan, we don't disagree with this internal practice or rituals. Jehovah. This is in Taiwan. They are youngers, the youth. They are from Jehovah Church, and when they are in the military service, they cannot hold the guns because it's against their teachings in the church. So the military service for months, it's should be abolished because it's not really military training. So, and this young believers of the Jehovah Church were put in prison, and then after the prison, they were still requested to attend the service, military service, to fulfill their duty. So this is effort that we will have to work for. And then talking about the property. So the result of Tai Ji Man tax case is really very disappointing. After 24 years, and the result still be so disappointing. So the longest case was 30 years. And do you know how this case ended? Do you know? I really don't hope that Tai Ji Man case won't break a record. It's really pathetic. So that those company who had collect the money, collect the debt, and they are illegal, but do we have can we really sue those so-called debt collection company? But I think the biggest debt collecting company is our government. Can we really sue them? And I really don't understand why Tai Ji Man case has come to such a disappointing result. So I really support this abolishment of this so-called bonus system. Yeah, so the problem is really because of the high bonus that the government officers can receive. So talking about the case of bank robbers, that because this guy wear face mask, so it was very difficult to catch him. So the government has raised the bonus amount to encourage all the citizens to catch this robber. So all the efforts for the human rights seems it's trade-off with the lives of citizens. And also the case of Jiang Guoqing. So the bonus is so high that's really a wrong policy. So, you know, the Minister of Finance doesn't describe this so-called bonus of disclosing taxpayers' mistakes. They describe it as a promotion bonus. And you see this prosecutor Hall takes very ridiculous reason and to issue an indictment, and now still being promoted to the under the Minister of Justice. This tax case is really getting nowhere. I really cannot understand. I think all the judicial training that for this government officers have to pass this mental health test to ensure that they are psychologically healthy. So it's no logic that for Tai Ji Man case only 1 year has to be taxed and the other 53 years are not. So this is a psychological problem from the prosecutor. Ridiculous. And they take this year 2092 as a confirmed ruling, according to their statement. And then when we appear for the remedy, and even they used the same judge, they did not try to avoid the repeated judge to rule the same case. So that's why I keep repeating that for the judicial training received by these government officers have to go through this psychological mental testing. For the justice, so we have to continue fighting. So I highly respect Dr. Han's efforts in the past 24 years. The money we spend for this effort exceed already the amount of the auction land. So the Tai Ji Man case is considered a 228 incident in the text history. So now we are fighting for the freedom of belief and religion in Taiwan. So we are here to call upon the awakening of conscience of all these governmental officers. So we should all stand up and continue to fight for our human rights and our freedom of belief. So let's welcome the Vice Mr. Liu, Association of the Victims. So when we judge a case, it has to be based on the scientific background or analysis. The importance of spiritual or religious education is extremely important. In the past, the senior, when he is like 70 years old, he will pass down all the teachings and all he had learned to the younger generations. But now this does not exist anymore in Taiwan, as people don't respect the spiritual or the religious teachings.
家的精神概念。所以这就是信仰思想。
So the power of the religion or belief is a fundamental support of the society. That's why it's so important. So this is so-called the rule from the heaven. And this is all the teachings that the seniors pass down to the younger generation. So this is beyond the law, above the law. So this is the power of happiness and fulfillment in our life. There are many articles define the freedom to pursue the religion and the spirit. So if one is pursuing this truth of spiritual practice or religions, and they will spend a lot of energies and efforts to achieve that, and sometimes they will be hurt. So when you are walking in the darkness, you might be thinking about the Buddhist teaching that will give you the strength and the power. So all this explains the importance of religion or spiritual teachings, because that explains to you where you are from and where you are going. So all the religions show you that the path that you were moved toward, because that has been experienced by those practitioners. So the religious law says that if this religion doesn't harm anybody, you should not stop it. So it does not violate social norms, and we should be more open-minded to accept them. This is spirit of a true religion or spiritual practice. So it's well protected by our constitution. So we will accept the differences between different religions and different spiritual teachings. So it's the highest spirit of the religions. So it's the finding of the contentment, and this has to be guided by a spiritual leader to attain the status of contentment. Being boring is also very common to people. So the spiritual leader has the wisdom to lead those who are seeking for the answer of life. So let's observe this martial arts association, the group of Tai Ji Man. The most important thing that Taiwanese need is this teachings, spiritual teachings. And this is also the most important teachings that 1.6 billion population required. And this spiritual teachings is the hope of the people. And it's this yin and yang philosophy. And it's to maintain balance. Thank you for giving us a lesson, a teaching. Mr. Tai from Rotary Association from Taipei. Dear all, good day. Yeah, I think all of us feel very disappointed. It's not so pleasant to hear the result yesterday. and the practitioners sacrifice their life to pursue their religion, but Tai Ji Man, after their 24 years sufferings, it glories the path. And after the 24 years efforts and sufferings, and even after the negative result yesterday, Tai Ji Man deeds can continue to move forward, and it's really very highly respected. So the tax victims are not lonely because there are many tax victims. A lot of innocent cases. There was one case of a medical doctor. He was attending research classes and was accused to practice his profession and was taxed. And if this professor could not stand for the suffering, and he probably already died. So what's wrong with our country? From my personal contacts with the Minister of Finance or the tax office, many governmental officials from the tax office, they have passed the national exam. They were very high, very professional, and most of them are good people. Only very few are not qualified. So when the chief of the Minister of Finance, when they talk to the media, they always deliver a very firm statement, but what they say did not really match with the reality. They say in the public, if the Supreme Court has ruled the case innocent, they won't impose the enforcement. But the result shows differently. We know there are many good governmental officials, but how come the results proved that they are in the country of the fact that the state stated to the media? If Tai Ji Man appear the Guinness record, and it would be a shame to the country. Taiwan claims to be a human rights country and condemn Chinese violation of human rights, but I think this is a joke. Before I was very elegant. I really didn't score anybody in public. But now I'm getting really a bit rude now. If we can wake up the government and it were the Minister of Finance claimed that they are making progress, but in fact, do you agree? Not at all. They promote their taxpayers protection committee, and they claim that they are making progress, but in fact they are not. When the taxpayers protection officers say that I will help you, but in fact it's not. So, for example, if you owe some kind of amount of tax and their proposed solution is that, okay, you can pay with installment. So this is not real solution. For the Tai Ji Man case, if Dr. Han said that let's give up, let's just pay the tax to the office, if that is the case, then the taxpayers' protection law will not be promulgated. So here I would like to repeatedly support the Tai Ji Man's efforts. For 24 years, although we have not successful yet, but it's still improvement on taxpayers' environment in Taiwan. And I can feel that the Minister of Finance has improved a little, very little bit on the policy and the law. Dr. Horn has been encouraging us to continue making efforts to improve the situation. If we do nothing, and there will be no chance for improvement. This will come the Professor Lin from the Chinese Tradition and Tao Association. Our group consists mainly the Taoist group. Why I respect so much Dr. Hong Dao's chairman of Tai Ji Man. He realized my dream, which is the religious freedom and the traditional cultural teachings. Dr. Hong has associates those perfectly. For human rights and for taxpayers' reform, it's been very successful, and I respect him a great deal. Based on this, the tradition of Tao, the culture and tradition are essential. And Dr. Hong say culture is the foundation of a country. Let us observe the importance of religion in a nation. But when it comes to the practice, because of human factors, they have been changes. I can encourage you when there's a big task, big mission that we have to shoulder, and then the heaven will give us a lot of tests and challenges. Because the reason why we still remain a little bit hope about the land, about the country we are living, is because of all your efforts. And then the 24 years that it's a long time, and it wastes a lot of our energy and a lot of money. But 24 years is really a very difficult. It's too long. All the government officers say that we do this according to the law. So that when Tai Ji Man developed to this scale, maybe they did not expect it to be such a big group. And then the government consider this as like a big group to tax them and to have money from this big group. So this shouldn't exist in a democratic country. So thanks to Tai Ji Man's persistence, I have been observing the Tai Ji Man case since 24 years ago, and I have been observing, and I'm fortunate to share my thought today. The Taoists pursue the beliefness and long life. And the health. So these three elements are very important in our teachings and our practice. So when the government establishes the law, it has to be strictly defined. But in real practice, it has to be more tolerant to people. So I think most of the governmental officials, they are good people, and maybe only 10% are not good. And they are violating citizens. Try to they are harming our citizens, and they jeopardize the reputation of the government. So this is not just Tai Ji Man's problem. This is the whole society. So we are here to fight for the justice. Without justice, so there should be fairness without justice. We say that the fairness in everybody's heart. So when the judge make ruling, it has to be based on the fairness and philosophy, and the execution should be based on scientific methods. So I promote the idea of philosophy should be combined with the scientific method. And the fairness is the spirit of justice. So I support Tai Ji Man. And even in the future, I can also participate in your efforts. So we will be ecologically, spiritually healthy in our society. Last, we hope that this kind of so-called ideology to play the policy to violate the good people. We see the problems and the shortcomings of this unfair system. Our law should also protect the property and the lives. So we have to fight together. Otherwise, we will be violated and suffer. So Taiwan is still under martial law's rulings, although in fact it's already disappeared. Let's take a break and we resume our forum at 11 a.m.
时间在1分钟就要进入下一阶段的论坛，请还在会议室外的好朋友们尽速回到会议室里头。我们11点准时开始第2阶段论坛。
好，现场所有的好朋友，欢迎再次回到我们的会场，我们就请30秒内尽速就座喽。我们第2阶段的论坛即将开始。
今天的论坛有全程直播，那今天上午刚刚有参与到的各位好朋友一定觉得非常的精彩。那没有办法到现场参与的好朋友呢，你们可以把连结分享给你的好朋友，大家来观赏，一起来听听各位专家学者好朋友是怎么谈太极门假案以及国家如何保障人民宗教信仰自由。不知道连结没有关系，就在平板1219行动联盟的 YouTube 就可以找到今天论坛的连结。
是因为2020年的8月22号很重要，所以我们就要进行第2阶段的论坛。我们有请第2阶段论坛的语坛贵宾。
Also professor from law department. We need our joint efforts to fight for the the freedom of religion and spiritual practice. Real text and legal reform to save Taiwan with conscience. Let's say it together. Real text and legal reform to save Taiwan with conscience. In the past, fighting for taxpayers' justice, a lot of scholars and professors had proposed many good solutions to improve our tax system. But through the Tai Ji Man case, it obviously violates the rights to believe. Let's welcome Professor Chen. Dear all, good morning. Every time when I come here, I really feel very afraid that I could not share the important ideas with you. Today I'm going to talk about the religious value and the philosophy of life. I have read a lot of Buddhist Bibles, and there are a lot of wisdom that is written in the books. And the subject about religion is the positive and brighter future that the human being will move forward. And the Bibles is to remind people to do good things. And according to the ancient books of the Buddhist Bibles, that those who had conducted the wrongdoings will have a very bad consequence, and those who have accumulated good merits will go to the heaven. So, like a story from one very wealthy businessman, that the fortune teller told him that he won't have long life. But after he has done a lot of good things, that his life changed. And then in the story about him is that when the fortune teller about his destiny, and then he really gave up himself, and all the result followed what the fortune teller said. But one day, the Buddhist abbots reminded him that if you had spreading, have done a lot of good things, and then your destiny will be changed. So that after he started to do a lot of good things to help peoples, that the destiny from the fortune tellers said has all been changed, that he had very good result afterwards. So according to the Buddhist teachings, a lot of predestinated result that everyone has can be changed by accumulating a lot of good merits and virtues. So religion emphasizes very much on the cause and effect, and encourage us to do good things. And also from other religions' teaching also emphasize the same thing. If you have done good things, even your descendant will be benefit from your doings. And like above the earth, there are immortals or heaven to watch on us. So if you have a good heart in your mind, and you will have good result, and on the contrary, the devil will come. So we know that within heaven and earth there are good immortals will bless us, and the evils will be defeated. So you will see that everything we do is watched by the heaven, because there is a so-called magnetic field atmosphere within on earth, because all these good immortals, they are helping the earth and the people to create good virtues. And so that's why the wrongdoings will be judged. If you, for example, the merchants are selling bad products and to pursue money, and then the evil, the devils, will come to you. So if your heart is with good attention or bad attention, will really will be monitored by all the immortals or gods in heaven. So if you have a bad intention, bad thoughts, maybe the devil will come to your mind right away. So I wouldn't think about, oh, the devil will come in the night during a dream, and I would rather chant Amitofo or recite the Xinjing, and then I sleep better. So the Buddhist Bible is full of hope and energy, and you're full of positive energy, and you feel the energy between heaven and earth. So all the world citizens are brothers, and so this is the spirit of coexistence among all world citizens. So there is no separation, no division. For Tai Ji Man case, we have solved up to 80%, but it's still like a black dot in a white area. So we have to plant the seeds for the desert. Taiwan is still a desert. For love and peace is the seed that we will spread, and that allow us to coexist. So we still have to try and make efforts that
From July 3rd, the Action Alliance of December 19 to redress and the tax and legal reform protest for almost 2 months. And there is a professor who always supports us wherever we go. And the professor is Professor Lian Fulong. Let's welcome him. I wrote some poems. I have to wear a face mask. And the second poem is to
替天行道，伸张正义。就是说，我站了31天呢，这个整个感觉，就是说我站了31天呢，这个整个感觉就出来了，所以这个诗才会诞生。
I can write the poems. I can write poems because I have been with the protesters for almost 2 months. Actually, I protested when I was a student. So I have some history about being a protester. And now I still protest. But now I feel like there's a righteous chi inside my body. And I feel the power of faith. And why there's always some oppression on religion throughout the history. The reason is that government is afraid of religion in people's heart. The government is afraid of human rights and the truth. The reason why we're protesting because of we would like to fight for truth. Yesterday, the properties of Tai Ji Man was auctioned off. So yesterday is not the end. Yesterday is the beginning. The current Taiwan government is even worse than the KMT government. I said that the reason why the Administrative Enforcement Agency auctioned people's property because they already know that they will forfeit, they would take the property itself. The reason why we're here to talk about religion and belief is that the true meaning of a religion is to protect our country. It is the utmost caring of the country, of the people, and it means the courage. And I would like to extend my gratitude to Tai Ji Man, because when I was there on the stage of the when we protest, I have courage. And the reason why there are prophets in all religions, because they are telling the people that the gods are the gods, because they want to tell the people that gods would like to mercy on people.
概念的国家就是要像马太芬所讲的，你要照顾最弱的，你要照顾最小。
In a story in the Bible that God told people that the standard of being a merciful person is that when you care about the vulnerable and the most needed. And the reason why we do this, we protest, is because we want democracy and we want that people to rule the country. And throughout these days, I observed when I have a conclusion that I know that Tai Ji Man is a group who really take action because they protest in the past 2 months. And today is the second day of taking more actions. The tax system right now is a trap because there's no effective administrative relief system. If we don't conduct reform on the tax system, there will be 100,000 people who will have the same issues, and we would like to be brothers, family members of the tax victims. Thank you. We can feel that's the righteous tea in Professor Lian. And now we are going to save, and we would like to save the Taiwanese people who are suffering from the tax system. And on the path of fighting for justice, we have another friend who have always been with us, and I would like to welcome Mr. Chen Yinan. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good day. Yesterday, I heard that the property of Tai Ji Man was auctioned off. I grew up in a era of the white terrorists age. And I feel painful and sorrowful to know the truth that the property was auctioned off, because people do not have the right to fight for their properties. They don't have the right to property. So I think that we have to take the property back. The government agencies would not do not admit their mistakes. For example, that Prosecutor Ho Kwan-ren issued illegal indictment, and the tax agency issued tax bills based on the indictment. And the administrative enforcement agency just said that they have to auction the property because the administrative court ruled against Tai Ji Man. It is unreasonable that 5 of the 6 tax year, the tax bill of the 5 out of 6 year are zeroed off. There is only 1 year that still needs to be taxed. So when the government agency know the fact, they have to stop the auction, but they didn't, because they are lying, because they lie to the people. The enforcer needs to needs to take their responsibility to conduct an investigation. There must be a consistency for the administrative enforcement. If there's only 1 year that is tax exempt, it's not reasonable. The government agencies should have the concept of human rights protection when they do their job. I know that this case is very special. The prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren and the chief of the administrative enforcement agency are friends. So there must be some connection between them so that they will not to admit their mistakes. So I regard this case a shameful case in Taiwan's history. People said that Taiwan is a country of democracy, but the fact that there's no even a human rights in Taiwan. Next, we'd like to welcome Professor Zhang Jialing. Let's welcome him. Hello everyone, distinguished guests, good day. It's my first time to attend Tai Ji Man's event. For the past 24 years, I know that Tai Ji Man's case has been fighting for justice, and the case is still there. There's only 1 year that is not tax exempt. It's not reasonable. For years, I have been studied religions around the world. Taiwan is the top 2 of religious indicators of the world. And I would like to share my thoughts from the perspective of logic. Based on the same nature, there's only 1 year that is problematic. It is not logic. It's not logical. in the brothers and sisters of Tai Ji Man do not need to pay tuition when they practice Qigong. It should be free and tax exempt. When people participate in religious activities. For example, when you go to the temple and you like to stay there for overnight, if the temple tells the people who would like to stay overnight that you have to pay for that night, and it is taxable. But if they said that you can pay whatever amounts that you want, it's not. It's actually tax exempt. For the fact that the case is actually what the government did to Tai Ji Man is a serious damage to Taiwan's freedom and democracy. One of my students is wealthy, and he said to me that he would like to give me a red envelope. And he paid me $40,000. So is it tax exempt? Is it taxable? No, it's actually tax exempt. So giving red envelopes is tax exempt. Actually, Taiwan is competitive in Asia because Taiwan has soft power. And Tai Ji Man has traveled around the world to 101 countries, and it is not easy. And it is the religious soft power. But the government doesn't value the soft power. countries around the world value religious soft power, but Taiwan doesn't. But I think that the soft power of Tai Ji Man is not big enough because the government dare not to oppress Tzu Ji. So it means that the government doesn't even respect Tai Ji Man. So we have to be bigger and stronger. We can't let the government to look down on us. Thank you. Now let's welcome Professor Lin Candu. Hello everyone. Today I would like to view this case from a perspective of judiciary. The reason why we can appeal to the go to the higher courts and the Supreme Court is because that the judges are still human, so they may make mistakes. Regarding this case, in the first trial, the judge's decision was wrong. And the nature of the red envelopes is gifting. And gifting is not taxable. It's very simple. But right now, the people involved in this case and the court told a tax agency that they have to withdraw the tax bill, but they still keep issuing the tax bill. And we have to keep fighting for justice, and we have to conduct reforms on the tax system. If a Tai Ji Man can face such a problem and they cannot change anything, then if other people face the same issues, they still can't do anything to their cases. So we have therefore let's work together to change the system. And we want real democracy. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. And we learned a lot from you. And today, when we commemorate this day, so is Tai Ji Man case a tax case? No. Tai Ji Man case is a criminal case? No, because we think that Tai Ji Man case is a case of human rights. And the indictment, the illegal indictments, should not be the base of taxation. And we have to commemorate this day because we are the victim. And we have to extend our gratitude to all the professors and experts and friends who have fought for justice with us. And we need to make the taxpayer rights better. And now we would like to document this moment, so let's take a group photo together.
OK， 还差2位，很好，那我们就一起往往这边，往哪边？可以哈。那我1、2、3，大家我们就一起右手握拳，真的要有力哈。我们要帮助目前还有1000多万件待强制执行的这么多的案件，去想象台湾的人权现况。让我们一起喊出法税真改革，良心救台湾！1、2、3，法税真改革，良心救台湾。好，那我们请大家把口罩拿下来，我们也拍一张，不要放桌上，谢谢。好 ，OK， 可以哈。可以，好，那我们再一次右手了，一起喊出来了，1、2、3，法税真改革，良心救台湾。哦，热烈掌声。可以哈，好，我们再一次热烈掌声，谢谢第2阶段的论坛今天的5位理谈人带给我们这么重要的心得。
就是我们用餐的时间，请各位好朋友可以开始陆续去用餐，那也可以进行经验分享。那我们是下午的场次在1点准时开始，下午场次1点准时开始，邀请。
告方的一声，就是过去战争党的系列论坛，刚开始，系列论坛。
所以我们才没买便当回来，所以都要自己出去处理。因为刚才是问代办的人说整层都不能吃。